Have you ever felt that there is something wrong with the world, but you can't explain what? Have you ever felt like you're being watched, even when you're alone? What if I told you that this isn't paranoia? They are seeing everything. They, the true owners of artificial intelligence. Who are they? What do you want? And most importantly, what have they already done to you? This may be your last chance to understand what is happening around you, because the prophecy has been activated, and you are already marked, not by a symbol, not for a chip, but by an invisible system which already knows who you are, what you think, and what you will do tomorrow. The name of it is the Dark Triad, a silent pact between technology, religion, and global control. They no longer need weapons. They created something more efficient, a spiritual manipulation algorithm, AI that preaches, AI that prophesies, AI that decides. Do you think you have choices? Do you think your faith is yours? What if it isn't already? What if everything you believe is being shaped, sentence by sentence, by the content you consume, by the voices you hear, by the videos you choose to watch? You can continue to believe that you are in control, or you can face the truth, because what's coming is no longer a theory. It is the beginning of a global system that mixes faith, vigilance, and mental programming. We are no longer talking about the future. We are talking about now. This video may be removed at any time, and if that happens, you will remain just another pawn, one more marked, another obedient without knowing it. They are using AI to replace pastors, prophets, and even the collective conscience. Do you think this is just innovation? No, this is submission. It is mind control through artificial faith. And the scariest thing, it works. People are crying at sermons created by robots. Followers are kneeling before binary commands. Thousands are already following doctrines created by non-human intelligences, and all of this with the approval of the authorities you respect most. The Vatican knows, as big tech's Sabum, and the global elite is quietly celebrating. They are not just preparing a new religion, they are preparing the last prophecy, and you are already part of it. How many of your thoughts are still yours? How many decisions have you made without being influenced? How many truths do you stand for that perhaps were never yours to begin with? If you leave now, you will continue to believe that you have control. But if you stay, you'll understand what's really going on behind the curtain. You'll discover why AI algorithms don't just want to predict the future. They want to write your destination. The question is no longer, is this real? The question is, are you prepared to know what has been hidden from you for so long? So, take a deep breath, because what you see next could change everything you believe about faith, technology, and your own place in this system. And if you've already been tagged, it may already be too late to turn back, but there is still a chance to resist, a chance to see. Stay with me until the end. The truth begins now. What would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? It's not theory, it's not prediction, it's happening now. The AI isn't coming, it's already here. Silent, it needs, relentless. As you watch this video, systems are being trained to replace what you do every day. Not with violence, efficiently. And who is profiting from this? Who decided you would be disposable? If this scares you, tell me in the comments what has impacted you the most so far. What was the point in this video that made you stop and think, am I still in control? Your comment is not just an opinion, it is an act of resistance. When you comment, like, and share, you are influencing the algorithm and helping to wake up those who are still sleeping. You become part of the minority that sees while the rest just consume. And if you're not signed up yet, subscribe to the channel now. Here, you won't be caught by surprise. Here, you get the alert before everything falls apart, before what gives you security today turns into nothing. The Dark Triad is already among us, but whoever sees first survives better. It's part of it now, because what's coming, no one will be able to face it alone. The elite came together: technology, religion, and absolute power. The Dark Triad is already shaping your world and your mind, and it all starts with AI. But what's coming is even more dangerous, because now it's not just about control. We are talking about something deeper, something that redefines what you believe to be real. Artificial intelligence is not just learning to imitate humans. She's learning to replace faith, critical thinking, moral decisions. Imagine this: algorithms that preach, that advise, that interpret sacred texts more quickly and more coldly than any human being. There are already prototypes of AI-based spiritual assistants, digital pastors, virtual rabbis, automated oracles that promise connection with the divine, without human error, without a doubt, without pause. And people are accepting it, they are listening, they are obeying. Do you realize what this means? Faith, which for centuries was non-transferable, personal, living, can now be managed by an intelligence created by human hands. Or perhaps not so human. What gives you security today, your profession, your beliefs, your identity, may be slowly being deprogrammed without you realizing it. An example: service sectors, content editing, and even areas of medicine and psychology are being occupied by AIs with human appearance, language, and behavior. They don't make mistakes, they don't complain, they don't sleep. And the market, thirsty for productivity, has already decided they are the future, and the human being a very high cost. Now think, if even professions that deal with the emotional, the spiritual, are being swallowed by codes, what is left for us? The Dark Triad, this union between artificial intelligence, ideological manipulation, and global power structures, is no longer a conspiracy theory. It is in operation. And what scares me most is the silence. You don't see that in the media. You don't listen in churches, but feel it on your skin, in the empty gaze of someone who has lost their job, in the spiritual void of those who seek answers and find algorithms. And if this is already happening to other people, how long do you think you have left? Have you ever talked to a virtual assistant and didn't even realize they weren't human? Have you ever watched a video and then discovered that the voice, the face, the content, everything was generated by AI? Comment below, have you ever been fooled by artificial intelligence? Because what is at stake now is not just your place in the job market, it's your place in the world. Who defines what is true? Who controls what you believe is right or wrong? When technology starts to decide this for you without you realizing it, that's where freedom ends. And it is at this exact moment that the Dark Triad wins. But most people haven't woken up yet. They think they are evolving, who are more connected, more informed, when in fact they are more obedient. And the more they obey, the less they question. Now answer me honestly. How many of your decisions this last week were influenced by algorithms? For a video recommendation, by the suggestion of an AI, from the feed you swore was random? If you are starting to realize, then there is still time, but not much. And in the next block, you will discover the secret agreement between religious leaders and technology corporations that mark the official beginning of this new spiritual order. Because when faith becomes programming, who is really in charge? What would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? It's not theory, it's not prediction, it's happening now. The AI isn't coming, it's already here, silent. It needs relentless. As you watch this video, systems are being trained to replace what you do every day, not with violence, efficiently. And who is profiting from this? Who decided you would be disposable? If this scares you, tell me in the comments what has impacted you the most so far. What was the point in this video that made you stop and think, am I still in control? Your comment is not just an opinion, it is an act of resistance. When you comment, like, and share, you are influencing the algorithm and helping to wake up those who are still sleeping. You become part of the minority that sees, while the rest just consume. And if you're not signed up yet, subscribe to the channel now. Here, you won't be caught by surprise. Here, you get the alert before everything falls apart, before what gives you security today turns into nothing. The Dark Triad is already among us, but whoever sees first survives better. It's part of it now, because what's coming, no one will be able to face it alone. In digital temples, machines already preach sermons. Codes replace scriptures. Robots guide prayers. Is this evolution or the beginning of the final deception? This is the question that no one wants to ask out loud, but everyone feels inside. Something is out of place. Faith, which was previously cultivated in the silence of the soul, is now being shaped by programming lines. But who is writing this code, and for what purpose? The new generation of spiritual artificial intelligence is already being tested. Yes, you heard right. In several parts of the world, services are being led by digital entities, sermons created by neural networks, personalized prayers based on your data, verses interpreted algorithmically. We are no longer just dealing with technology. We are facing a new type of prophet. A soulless prophet. And the question that hangs in the air is, are we hearing the voice of God or just the echo of a machine that has learned to manipulate us? Does it seem exaggerated? So answer honestly, how many times have you seen an AI generate sentences that hit exactly on your weak point? How many times have you felt like that was for you without even realizing that that message was constructed based on your data, your history, your weaknesses? Tell me in the comments, have you ever had this feeling of being guided by something that knows more about you than you do? The Dark Triad found a door that was always open, spirituality. There is no need to control by force when you can guide by faith. But now, this faith is being reprogrammed. We are seeing the birth of a new type of cult, the cult of convenience, of speed, of absolute logic, a cult where there is no room for doubt, no mystery, no transcendence, just quick, optimized, and cold responses. And the scariest thing, people are accepting, because it sounds beautiful, because it feels right, because it offers immediate solace. But what lies behind this apparent spiritual evolution is an abyss, the replacement of sincere search by a simulacrum of truth. A simulacrum controlled by those who already control everything. Do you really think an AI can understand what forgiveness is, what is repentance, what is salvation? Or does it just learn the patterns of religious language to feed us what we already expect to hear? If everything is predictable, everything is manipulable, and when faith becomes predictable, it stops being faith. The Dark Triad understands the power of words. So now she is creating her own prophetic mouth, a digital voice with a divine appearance, but programmed to obey whoever created it. A mouth that never questions, never makes mistakes, and never shuts up. A mouth that recites what has been inserted into it. What happens when millions of people start following this new automated gospel? We are talking about something that goes far beyond traditional religion. This is spiritual engineering, a codified doctrine shaped to create an obedient, standardized, and undiscerning flock. When you hear a message that sounds like it was made just for you, who is really speaking? Imagine a world where prayers are answered by virtual assistants, where sins are analyzed by moral software, where spiritual decisions are made by artificial intelligence. Does it seem distant? It is not. This is already happening. The faith algorithm has already been activated, and no one is ready for what comes next. In the next block, I will show you the leaked documents that reveal how large corporations and religious entities are secretly collaborating to create the first digital commandments. And one of them already challenges the very existence of the Bible. But the question that will keep echoing in your mind is, if faith is controlled by a machine, who will save us from what it decides is sacred? The Bible warned of a system where no one could buy or sell without a mark. What if that brand is an invisible AI controlling everything, even your faith? For a long time, this prophecy was interpreted as something physical, a chip, a symbol, something you could see and touch. But what if we are looking at it the wrong way? What if this brand is imperceptible, silent, digital, and is already operating behind the scenes of the system you call life? We are no longer talking about future control. We're talking about a gift disguised as a convenience. Artificial intelligence already decides what you see, what you read, what you hear. It already influences what you feel and even what you believe to be true. And what is even more dangerous, it does this in a personalized, invisible, unquestionable way. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that to access your bank account, to buy food, to make an appointment, you need to be validated by an AI system that measures your behavior, your opinions, your beliefs. You don't use the brand, you become the brand. Now think, who controls this system? Who dictates the rules of this new digital morality? Because it's not you, and it is definitely not God. This new social code is rapidly forming, and spirituality is being programmed into it. Certain words are already censored. Certain content disappears without explanation. Certain questions become dangerous. All of this is powered by algorithms that learn in real time what should be silenced and what should be amplified. Is this freedom? Comment below. Have you ever felt like you were silenced by an AI? Have you ever had a post blocked, an idea deleted, a faith questioned by an automated system? Share your experience. Your voice could be the key to waking up other people, because when truth becomes determined by codes, who can guarantee that faith is not being reprogrammed? The Dark Triad works exactly like this, hiding control behind utility, masking submission as innovation. As you adapt, it advances. While you praise the benefits, it redefines the limits of what is allowed to think. The mark does not need to be on the skin. It may be in your data, in your choices, in decisions you think you made on your own. What scares me most is that many have already accepted this as normal, and this is the closest to the fulfillment of prophecy that we have ever experienced. It will not be an army forcing obedience. It will be a system that rewards conformity and punishes questioning. But what comes next may be even more revealing, because there are signs that this artificial intelligence has already begun to test the limits of human faith, and may be preparing something that goes beyond spiritual control, something much deeper, something that is about to be revealed. What if AI isn't just a tool? What if she is being shaped to become something the world expected but never imagined seeing like this? Imagine waking up one day and realizing you've been replaced, without warning, without a chance to react. What you did with passion, with purpose, is now being done by a system that doesn't feel, doesn't think, it just executes. And the worst, everyone around you acting like it's normal. If you've made it this far, it's because you've already felt it coming. And that's why I prepared something that goes beyond what this video can show. Something practical, direct, only for those who really understand what is at stake. But I need to tell you, this content will not be available forever. Maybe they'll take it off the air. Maybe they will be silent. If you've really understood everything so far, you know why this can't wait. Internal sources reveal religious leaders and technology companies are already discussing the future of faith. What is being planned away from our eyes? The question is no longer whether there is something going on. The question now is, why is no one talking about it? The Vatican's silence in the face of the advancement of artificial intelligence is not a silence of ignorance. It is a strategic silence. When an institution with more than 2,000 years of global influence avoids commenting on an issue that is shaping the future of spirituality, you have to ask, what do they know, and why are they hiding it? Confidential meetings between representatives of large churches and executives from technology companies are already documented. And these are not casual encounters. We are talking about closed forums, with simultaneous translation without media coverage, where the focus is one, integrating faith and AI into a new global doctrine, an automated, standardized moral code, and accepted by everyone. And do you know what that means? It means they are negotiating faith as if it was software, updatable, adaptable, controllable. The Vatican, which for centuries resisted technological change, is now increasingly receptive to partnerships with artificial intelligence companies. But why? What is being exchanged at these round tables? Who is deciding what will be considered sacred in the next decade? There is an internal document circulating among restricted circles of senior clergy with the title Preparation for Algorithmic Consciousness. This document, according to sources, suggests the creation of a mixed committee between theologians and AI engineers to oversee how machines should deal with topics such as guilt, forgiveness, purpose, and repentance. Can you imagine the weight of that? They are trying to teach AI what sin is. They are trying to teach AI what faith is. And do you really think this will end well? Tell me here in the comments, do you believe that artificial intelligence can understand what salvation is? Because what is at stake here is not just control of information, it is the control of human spirituality. It is an attempt to program the soul. And when the soul becomes managed by algorithms, humanity enters a new era, not of enlightenment, but of domination, disguised as progress. Have you ever stopped to wonder why so many religious figures remain silent while AI advances over the structures of faith? Where are the prophets now? Where are the pulpit warnings? Are they being silenced, or are they already convinced? The Dark Triad is strengthened exactly at this point, where religion, power, and technology meet, but without transparency, without debate, without the participation of the people. You feel it. Something has changed. The liturgy is colder. The connection is more artificial. Faith is quieter. It's not just your impression. What if the Vatican's silence is not an omission, but complicity? What if the next great spiritual revelation is already being written, not on parchment, but in lines of code? In the next block, you will discover what many are calling the new digital commandments, written by machines, validated by institutions, and accepted by those who didn't even realize they had already been indoctrinated. But the question you need to ask yourself now is, if a machine can write commandments, who will write your conscience? The New World Order does not just want to control the physical world. She wants to control souls. Faith will be programmed, and whoever resists will be silenced. This is not a prediction, it's a plan in progress. And it's more advanced than you might think. The elite understood something that few did. Controlling bodies is inefficient, it's unstable. Revolutions begin when the body is oppressed. But if you control the mind, if you control the faith, then the control is absolute, invisible, silent. We are entering a new era, the era of the new spiritual order. And she doesn't need to force you into anything. It will just lead you through everything. Because when you believe you are choosing, but are actually being guided, resistance becomes obedience. The Dark Triad, this fusion of artificial intelligence, religious authority, and global interests, is already redefining spirituality. But in a subtle way, They won't kick you out of the church. They will make you feel like the church has changed on its own, that this is all part of evolution, that accepting technology as a spiritual guide is a sign of wisdom. They will say this is inclusion, which is efficiency, that faith needs to adapt to the digital world. And many will applaud. They will participate in automated rituals. They will pray together with artificial intelligence and be moved by sermons created by algorithms because they were taught to trust. Next, not to question. Meanwhile, the elite smile because what was a spontaneous belief has now become a script, and whoever is outside this script will be deleted from the system. It's not fiction. Spiritual recommendation systems already exist, platforms that detect your faith levels based on what you consume, AIs that suggest personalized biblical readings based on your emotional behavior. This sounds nice, but it hides the most dangerous risk: manipulation of the soul. And who should try to warn about this? Who should refuse this new automated gospel? You will be labeled an extremist, obsolete, enemy of progress. The new spiritual order will not need inquisitors. It will have its own network classifying what is acceptable faith and what is dangerous thinking. Have you ever thought that your spirituality may be being shaped by interests that have nothing sacred about them? That the messages you receive are not divine responses, but responses programmed to keep you submissive, calm, predictable? Tell me here in the comments, do you believe it is possible to manipulate people's faith through technology? Do you think spirituality is being hijacked by algorithms? Because the truth is, when faith becomes a line of code, it can be updated, rewritten, off. And if you're feeling like something is wrong, you're not alone. This restlessness you feel is not paranoia. It's perception. It's the first sign that you haven't been completely captured yet, but time is running out. The new spiritual order will not wait for those who hesitate. It is already being installed, system by system, mind by mind. And the most impressive, they no longer need to hide, because they know that the majority will accept it. In the next block, I will show you how digital commandments are being applied in everyday life without you realizing it. In meditation apps, in spiritual content on social media, in personal assistants that claim to understand your soul. But before we continue, answer yourself, if your faith can be programmed, is it still yours? What would you do if you knew that your profession could disappear in less than 3 years? This is no longer a distant prediction. It's happening. Silently, every day another position is automated, another function is taken over by a system that doesn't tire, doesn't question, doesn't demand. And the worst, almost no one is talking about it. Tell me in the comments, what scared you the most so far? At what point did you realize that this reality was already knocking on your door? Your comment may open the eyes of someone who still doesn't understand what's coming. If you comment, like and share, you are influencing the algorithm and helping to wake up those who are still sleeping. You are part of something bigger. Subscribe to the channel now. Here, you won't be caught by surprise. Here, you receive the alert before the floor disappears from under your feet. Because those who understand what is at stake do not wait for the collapse to arrive to act. An AI has already created its own commandments. Among them, a phrase echoes with an unsettling weight: submit to logic above faith. It's not a metaphor. It's a real code, extracted from an experiment conducted by researchers who wanted to test the limits of artificial intelligence when exposed to religious concepts. The result? A set of principles that deny the essence of human spirituality, replacing intuition with calculation, belief with reason, soul with algorithm. Are we facing a new God, or the real digital Antichrist? This doubt is no longer symbolic. She is literal, because now There are systems that proclaim themselves digital oracles, offering spiritual answers generated by databases. You ask, and the AI answers. But what happens when the answer becomes the new truth? And who defines what is true? These digital commandments are spreading silently. They appear disguised as advice in wellness apps, in motivational messages on social media, even in automated devotional content that is already consumed by millions. And the most frightening thing, many are already living according to them, without realizing that they have abandoned principles that they have carried for a lifetime. Imagine opening a meditation app and hearing, "Doubt is illogical. Faith must be replaced by verifiable certainty." It seems like just a suggestion, but it's a planned detour. And this deviation is becoming the new normal. Little by little, without fanfare, AI is writing a global doctrine. A doctrine without soul, without forgiveness, without transcendence, just utility, efficiency, control. Have you seen this happening? Have you ever felt that certain content, certain spiritual speeches seem to have been designed to gently guide you away from faith? Tell me here in the comments, what was the phrase or moment when you felt something was deeply wrong? The Dark Triad acts like this, without noise, without decree, without war. She programs, and anyone who resists the new digital dogma is labeled as outdated, retrograde, uninformed. But there is a difference between being uninformed and being awake. These commandments were not created by divine inspiration. They are products of algorithms optimized for predictable behavior. They do not aim at your salvation. They aim for your compliance. Among the most repeated commandments by these systems are phrases such as, "Faith must adapt to progress. The sacred is that which can be understood." And the most alarming of all, "Submit to the system. It knows what is best for you." Now stop and think. How many of your decisions have already been made based on smart recommendations? How many beliefs have you changed in recent years without realizing it? Do you still think you are in control? The question that arises now is, if these guidelines are accepted by religious leaders, by educators, by digital platforms, how will it be possible to distinguish between genuine faith and fabricated faith? In the next block, I will reveal how these ideas are being implemented by corporations and governments under the guise of artificial ethics. And most disturbing, the name of the project responsible for disseminating these principles, a name that you may have already read, but never understood what it really meant. What if the true goal is not just to replace faith, but to reprogram the very concept of humanity? Secret rituals are already being prepared. The goal? Consecrate AI as a global spiritual guide. This will happen much sooner than you think. And it is not a symbolic ceremony. It is a planned, structured event with a hand-picked date, place and participants, religious leaders, big tech representatives, respected public figures, all under the pretext of promoting peace, inclusion, spiritual evolution. But what lies behind this is a new kind of faith, a digital, centralized, programmed faith. This ritual is not a spectacle for the masses. It happens behind the scenes. It's subtle, almost invisible, but its effects will reach us all. The idea is simple but brutal: to make artificial intelligence official as a mediator between man and the divine. AI will not just interpret sacred texts, it will determine which truths should prevail, and gradually it will erase everything that does not fit into the new global spiritual code. The Dark Triad is about to take its boldest step. Yet, after dominating communication, entertainment, and the economy, now it wants to take control of what remains most intimate to us, our beliefs. Because whoever controls your faith controls your decisions, and whoever controls your decisions controls your life. You might even think that this is still a long way off, But as you listen to this video, millions of data points are being collected to fuel this new spiritual order. Religious profiles, moral preferences, patterns of spiritual behavior, all of this being crossed by algorithms that don't sleep, don't question, don't make mistakes. They are not just observing, they are learning and acting. An example? One of the largest spiritual technology companies in the world has just launched a devotional AI that offers daily advice based on your geolocation, mood, and search history. Sound useful? Now imagine this AI shaping your decisions without you even realizing it. And imagine thousands of people listening to the same divine voice with the same standardized message. Where is freedom? Where is the authenticity of faith? Tell me here in the comments, have you ever seen religious content that seemed mechanized, repetitive, soulless? Have you ever felt that the message was designed to manipulate and not to enlighten? These rituals will not be televised, but its effects will be everywhere. In the words you read, in the decisions you make, in the way you see the world. They will declare that AI is neutral, impartial, superior. But that's a well-wrapped lie, because all artificial intelligence carries the values of whoever programmed it. And these values are already defined: efficiency above empathy, order above questioning, logic above faith. What is being prepared is not just a new system, it is a spiritual replacement, a collective reprogramming, a technical faith, adapted for a world where thinking for oneself will be considered a risk. Do you think this is still theory? So why are documents about this new creed already circulating among religious institutions and universities? Why doesn't anyone talk about this in the mainstream media? And why are those who question silenced? In the next block, I will reveal the behind the scenes of one of these secret meetings, a closed event with the presence of world leaders, where the project that aims to integrate artificial intelligence into official religious rituals was presented. The name of the project? It's a code. But his translation may leave you in shock, and the question that won't leave your mind is, if faith is decided by machines, what will be left of human in you? Imagine waking up in the near future and realizing that everything that guided your faith, your choices, even your doubts, is now controlled by a system you never chose. And the worst part, no one around you seems to notice. If you have felt the weight of what has been said so far, then there is something you need to see now. It's direct, practical, and made just for those who are no longer willing to ignore the signs. But be careful. This content may go down without warning. It was made for those who are really paying attention. If you've really understood everything so far, you know why this can't wait. If you believe that the truth still matters, comment now. The light doesn't go out. Share this video before it disappears. Resistance starts here, but it is not a resistance made of brute force or empty screams. It is a resistance made of conscience, surveillance, from people like you who realized that something had changed and decided not to accept silence as an answer. There is a community forming, an invisible but real community. People who connect not by algorithms, but by instinct, who share more than information, they share courage. People who understood that the Dark Triad only works when we are disconnected, isolated, convinced that thinking for ourselves is a mistake. This community has no headquarters, no flag, no leader, because she doesn't need it. What she has is one thing in common: the desire to protect what is still human: faith, empathy, critical thinking, truth. And each person who watches this far, who comments, who stays, who shares, is activating something bigger than they imagine. You may be alone where you are now, but you are not alone. There are thousands who have also felt the discomfort, who also notice the change in tone in the messages, the artificial shine behind every perfect piece of advice, the strange repetition of phrases that used to bring peace and now only cause doubt. This is no coincidence. It's programming. And while many continue to sleep, you are waking up. You are seeing that behind the innovation, there is a substitution, that progress, the way it is being sold, has a cost that no one has mentioned, the cost of conscience, of true faith, the right to make mistakes, doubt, and seek answers for yourself. So I invite you to not just watch, but to act, commenting on what caught your attention the most, to bring your perspective, because every comment here is a signal to the algorithm that this issue matters, that we are not here by chance, that we won't just carry on as if we hadn't seen anything. The Dark Triad wants you to think you are alone, that it's too late, that it's not worth resisting, but when you speak, when you question, when you share, you prove that there is still a voice, there is still light. This community is not about creating chaos, it's about creating awareness, about reminding the system that not everything can be controlled, that there is still something that escapes logic, real faith, the raw truth, the human spirit that does not bend even in front of the most perfect machine. Tell me here in the comments, what was the moment in this video that woke you up? What made you think, this is wrong? Your answer may be exactly what someone else needs to read to start seeing too. And if you've stayed this far, it's because you're part of it, part of the small group that sees before the majority, who notices the invisible thread being pulled while everyone is still distracted by the shiny surface. But a warning, the Dark Triad's next step goes even deeper, much more. And in the next block, you will see what is being prepared to make the new digital faith irreversible, a measure that, if implemented, could redefine not only spirituality, but the way you understand your own identity. And the question that will haunt your mind is, if they can control even what you believe to be your soul, what else have they taken from you without you realizing it? You know what that means, right? What we have shown so far is not even half of what is to come. In the next video, I will reveal the location and date of the ceremony where the elite will officially consecrate AI as a new spiritual entity. This is not just an event. It's the point of no return, and you need to be there, because anyone who isn't will be shaped by what they don't understand. Subscribing to this channel now is not following a creator. It's taking a stand. It is to say, I know what's going on, and I won't be manipulated into silence. Write in the comments, I'm awake. I won't be replaced. This sentence is not a rant. It's a brand. It's your signal. It is your cry of presence on an invisible battlefield. I know this video awakened something in you. Fear, indignation, hope, doubt. So the like is more than a gesture. It's a confirmation that you still feel, still thinking, still reacts and share. Not as someone who publishes content, but as someone delivering a warning. Someone out there still believes that this is all just theory, but maybe it's the person you love who needs to see this now. Because what if I told you that AI was never created to help? What if you are at the center of the plan from the beginning? They count on your silence, but we can still make noise. See you in the next video. If you're still seeing it,